Decorating Your Mantel for the Holidays, presented by our guest speaker, Judy Peacock, who's representing the North Fulton Master Gardeners and the University of Georgia Extension Service in Fulton County. Master Gardeners' mission is to provide horticultural education and service and inspiration in the North Fulton community. And they've also partnered with Bullock Hall to bring garden fair to the community on the last Saturday in April. And they provide gardening education through their gardening lecture series. And this class will be used as that because they're recording it. And they conduct a series of free classes to provide up-to-date horticultural programs to the community. Right now, they're not doing that. They're doing it via Zoom and other websites. And there's a list of websites coming up, how you can reach them and how you can watch their videos. And now we're ready to welcome Judy. And
I trained with to be a master gardener in 2010 after I retired. And since that time, I've had various jobs. I've dug weeds, done everything that possibly that you could do as a master gardener. I don't know if you're familiar with us, but we have a garden at the Smith House, or the Smith Plantation, that we take care of. It's a native garden. And we used to have two gardens at Bullock Hall that we took care of. And when Sally told you about the plant sale that we've always had at Bullock Hall in the spring, of course, this year we're not having it. We had to cancel this year we had to cancel, and so far we've canceled for next year as well. But once it resumes, it's a wonderful opportunity to buy plants. They're very inexpensive. They're always wonderful plants because each master gardener that's a member has to provide at least 20 plants to sell at the plant sale, and they come out of their garden, and they're just lovely. Sally asked me to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Norcross, which I'm sure you all know where it is, but it was a little bitty town when I grew up there. It's where my mother was born, and I actually was born in Atlanta, and then we moved to Norcross. Lived on the same street where my mother was born. My grandmother lived there. I had 3 aunts that lived on the street. I grew up running in the woods with my cousins. My mother was a wonderful plant woman. She knew all trees and taught me about trees and about plants. And when I went to college, I went to the University of Georgia, and I majored in art education. But I really loved the botany class that I took. And now I really wish that I had majored in horticulture. I used to spend time in the greenhouses there at Georgia, which weren't anything like they are now. But and the Founders Garden, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's where the Garden Clubs of Georgia began, and they maintained the Founders Garden there on the old campus of the university. But after getting out of college, I moved to Sandy Springs and lived on 40 acres on Long Island Drive, a little house back in the woods. And there were tons and tons and tons of all different types of wildflowers. And that's when I first started really becoming interested in wildflowers and identifying them and growing them. And I also had an herb garden. There were 2 retired school teachers at the time. This was in the 60s, late 60s, that had an herb farm in Roswell. And as I recall, I think it was somewhere on Holcomb Bridge Road between where 400 is and I guess where Pike's Nursery is now, if you're familiar with that. It's all from Roswell. And it was a wonderful place. And, it just sort of disappeared, but they grew herbs. And so since that time, I've always had an herb garden. As I got older, had children, I started doing church flowers, and then I was volunteered at the museum, did a lot of flowers there, did arrangements there. Then I started working, had a full-time job. But and as my children got older and their friends started getting married and my nieces and nephews did, I started doing the weddings for them. So I've done lots of different weddings. Used to, when I worked, I would be in charge of decorating for big conventions. So one time, when my daughter was in high school, there was a fundraiser at the Freight Depot in Atlanta. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where old underground Atlanta began, and it was huge. And my husband and I drove to South Georgia, all along the road, picking greenery and things to decorate because they gave me a budget of $300 is what I could spend. So I had to get greenery, and we took one whole day and drove all the different back roads and cut greenery and smilax and things like that to decorate it. So I love to forage for greenery. Sometimes I even cut it in parking lots, but we won't talk about that today. But I thought that I really encourage people to try to use what they have in their own yards. And sometimes you don't think that you really have enough to do arrangements with, but I'll show you today some of the things that I found in my yard and some of my friends' yards. They've been happy to donate to me, my daughter's yard. And you can hear me. I think I cut off my earplug. No, maybe not. So I hope you will be encouraged to look for things for yourself. Since this is decorating for 4 seasons, I thought you might like to see, I don't decorate for 4 seasons. I might decorate my mantle if I were having a big party or maybe giving a shower or something, and I wanted something really fresh to be on the mantle. I would be doing that. So I don't want you to think that I spend all this time doing this decoration for my mantle, but give you some ideas in case you did want to for the different seasons. This is what I normally keep on my mantle. I don't know if you can see it. I have these old bronze vases that my aunt brought back from China in the 30s. And we have curly willow outside in our, I can't say yard, it's like our pasture. And when the limbs fall, I like to pick them up. And I like to use them with this collage over my mantle. My daughter did when she was in high school. It's Pandora's box opening up, and you can see all those strange things coming out of it. And I think that curly willow sort of mimics that. So I think that's fun. But I'm going to take those down and give them to my husband. Let him put them somewhere so they'll be out of the way. The other one. Oh, okay. Let me take those earrings off. I haven't worn earrings since COVID. You can't wear earrings in a mask. There. I'll move the stand. I'm also a big believer in, just leave them here because I may use them again, in buying things to do arrangements in at estate sales and yard sales, like these beautiful stands came from an estate sale, and I probably wouldn't have been able to afford them if I had bought them in a store, but at the estate sale, I could. Let me leave this box. There we go. Okay, the first thing, I'm going to start with spring. And you don't always have to do cut flowers. You could just go to the nursery. I went to Pike and found this really pretty maidenhair fern, which this is a perennial fern. And I can actually plant this out. I'm not going to plant it outside in the winter, but next spring I'll put it in a pot and it will come back. It'll die back in the winter. So I get a 2-for-1. I can decorate my mantle with these. I have some other little, knock that over. These containers aren't really big enough, so I felt like they needed to be on top of something. Give them a little more. This other one. Can't tell. There we go. And then since it's spring, that's Easter, I have this rabbit box that I bought at a thrift store. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a carved rabbit. And I really have never used it before, but I thought, well, this will be perfect. And I found this Sanginella. It's called a frosty fern, but it's actually a Sanginella. And I don't know, this will also be planted outside. If any of you have Sanginella, a lot of times it's used in a shady area where you have stones, maybe a terrace, and so I've opened that up. See, I have another one. Where is it, Bud? Oh, I lost one of my earbuds. Oh, so I have another one. See, it comes in a pot like this. It's interesting because I don't know if these are roots or what those are that are coming off the plant, but I've just taken it out of the pot and sort of opened it up a bit. Not gonna hurt it. Now I'm not gonna plant this out until spring. I'll keep it inside until then. And I also cut some of my lamb's ears. I always think that's a nice spring. I thought I could work that in there. Let's see, I have some water here. Have these little cups. Do any of you get yogurt in these little cups? I love them. I buy the yogurt in these cups, and then I can use this for making custard or for little flowers. It's great. I think they'd be great for, can you see that? And I also making, you could use them for candles, for little votives. I bought some Johnny Jump Ups and violas, but when I bought them, they were blooming. Of course, now they're not, but you'll have to use your imagination. I'm going to put that in there. See, this one still has some blooms on it. Another thing I like to use when I teach this class, if I teach it in the springtime, Trader Joe's has these beautiful little pots of tater cake daffodils, the little miniature daffodils, and they're very inexpensive. So you can put those, use those to add to you can use those to add to the arrangement. Now, I can't see what that looks like. Oh, there's an empty space there. Maybe I'll put this other one in here as well. I've lost my earplugs again. They're not staying in my ears very well. Oh, okay. There we go. And I'm going to put this in the center to hide that plug over my fireplace. I don't know what that plug was for, but so they're very simply, they quickly and without a lot of trouble. So you've got your spring. I don't know if you can see it. Do I need to get out of the way? I can't hear anybody. Can you hear people? Oh, okay. Okay, so maybe might be nice to add something up there. You could add I have a lot of rabbits in my house, but I don't see any right now. But maybe you could add something else, maybe add to it a little bit, or maybe I could put some rabbits up there to add to that other rabbit, and maybe it wouldn't work. This one needs to come over a little bit. There. So, okay. Oh, okay. So they are just very quickly, we put together something that, would pass. Maybe it'd be nice if the ferns were a little bit bigger, but those were the biggest ones Pikes have, so that's what I had to deal with. Okay. So this is spring. So after spring comes summer. Now, if I were doing this in person for y'all, normally what I do is I search the Goodwill and all the thrift stores, and I find containers that are not particularly expensive and that I can give away. And so I would be giving you these arrangements. But since I'm not with you personally, I can't do it. I'm sorry. All right. Next thing is summer. And have some more little platforms here we use. I'll move this bunny rabbit. Here, but I'll give it to you. Put him in the kitchen. I may leave that and see how long he lives, like that. I went ahead and did one arrangement for summer, and I'll show it to you just for time. I went to Trader Joe's. I had to drive into Atlanta yesterday. There's no Trader Joe's here in LJ. In fact, the only store we have is Walmart, basically. But went to Trader Joe's to look for something that would be appropriate for summer, and they had these hydrangeas, and I found these carnations that are just green, and they're not dyed. That's natural. That sort of blended with the hydrangeas. I love hydrangeas, and I have a lot of hydrangeas here, so I do use those. I like to cut those in the summer, and then I've used some Kimberly Queen fern that I brought in last night because it got down to freezing here, and I've also used some rue, which is an herb. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'll show you what it looks like. It grows, has this really beautiful color. It doesn't smell particularly good. It's a medicinal herb, and it's called the herb of grace. It was supposed to be the herb that was used to give Christ water when he was on the cross. Don't know what actually what was his. It smells good. You don't know what it smells. But anyway, so I've done this one, and I'm gonna have to do one. I'll show you how to do one that matches. And these containers I found at the Goodwill one day when I was there. I've lost my other container. Here it is. And I was going to show you with glass containers, especially with these heavy plants, I will usually do a grid with floral tape and to give them some stability. So you can get this floral tape at most craft stores. And if you don't have floral tape, you probably could use some Scotch tape. Floral tape's a little stickier. I'm just going to create a grid, a little small grid here. You could use Scotch tape. If I were using Scotch tape when I did this, I would put the tape across, and then I would take tape and go around the edge. But with the swirl tape, I'm not going to do that. So here's my, these are my summer flowers here. Oh, and I also use some lamb's ears in that. I have a lot of lamb's ears up here. And when I bought these hydrangeas, they were, one bunch was really, really droopy. And one of the ways you rehydrate hydrangeas, you may know this, is to just fill up a bucket of water and then I put them in the water like this and they rehydrate.
Mhm.
So I'm going to turn this toward me to begin with. And I may be getting this taller than the other one. So, normally, if I were going to be doing these, I would have I would do them both at the same time for myself, but for y'all, because I want to not keep you so long, I'm going to there. And also, a good tip is to, as soon as you get home from wherever you bought your flowers, or if you cut them in your yard, to recut the stems and put them in water. So there are the three hydrangeas. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to, that was not doing real well there. Get it in this grid here. Use some of these ferns. Excuse me. Now, I don't know what we all would have done if we couldn't be outside during this COVID. I would encourage you all to get out as much as you can. Uh-oh, just lost my earbud again. They don't fit particularly well. There. For these carnations, I really love the color. I think a lot of people stay away from carnations. They remind people of funerals, but they're really a lovely flower. So I don't know if you can see, I'm just beginning to fill up. And I don't have to have a, particularly good back because this is going to be against the mantle. So that's a good thing. So the back really doesn't look very good, but that'll be okay. And let me get here's the root. Oh, and this Artemis too. I do have that. I went out this morning. My husband and I have created a trail through our woods. Well, we used to live in Atlanta. And then when we sold our house in Atlanta, we bought this house. And I don't know, you may have seen, not working, this is too tall. You may have seen on one of the screens, you can see the bookcase behind us. That's really the reason we bought this house. We both collect books and we needed a place to put them all. And this is looking a little fuller than the other one. But this was just with 3 bunches of flowers from Trader Joe's, which, weren't that expensive. Trader Joe's is a good source for flowers. I find they work quite well. I have used flowers from Costco too. One time, one of my nephews got married in Charleston and wanted me to do his flowers, so I ordered them from Costco, and they were able to get everything I needed. This needs something tall here. I think I'm going to put this up on the mantle and see if I can adjust it from there. Well, pretty tall. Put it down. I can get this big fern to stand up. I think it'll look better. It's a big fat hydrangea. Let me add some of these leaves. Oh dear. Lost my microphone again. Tuck these in. You can kind of manipulate these leaves so that they close enough, maybe. Maybe I'll put this last piece of rue in there. And then what I thought we could do for the center, I love ferns. They're one of my favorite things. And I just have these little pots of ferns out on my sun porch. So I thought I'd bring them in. And even though they don't all match. So that would be for summer. I'll move out of the way so you can see it. Well, this one's a little bit bigger. You can tell, maybe I need to add something there. See if I can get a little bit more height up in here. There. Can you see it? So that's my summer one. Okay. So summer's gone. And now we're actually in the season that's really here. Fall. And I noticed when I was in Atlanta yesterday that there were still a lot of leaves on the trees and still a lot of beautiful color. Most of our leaves have gone. As I was trying to say, I went down our path this morning, our trail in our woods, because I wanted to cut some beech leaves. And of course, the beech leaves hang on. They don't fall off a lot of times, during the winter, but they had curled up. They weren't pretty. But I saw some in Atlanta that were beautiful. So you could still use those and maybe use them for Thanksgiving. Yeah, but, oh, thank you. So you never know where you're going to find a good container. sometimes I've had to make containers using boxes. You know, you can use a pretty box, especially at Christmas time. You could use a Christmas box and then put a plastic liner inside and use that. Sometimes you can put them on stands. It gives them a little present. For the fall arrangement, I have this old silver-plated container that my son-in-law gave me. My son-in-law's an antique dealer, and he knows about I love squirrels and that I love old silver plate, even though the plating is gone. As you see, it looks more like pewter than silver. And but you don't have to polish it. It's all polished off. So that's a good thing. The maybe so. Oh, okay. He's going to show it to you so you can see the squirrel. I love this. Normally this sits on a table in my dining room, and it's filled with artificial
It's Rachel.
My daughter's calling. I guess she's forgotten I'm doing this. But your arrangements don't always have to be symmetrical. I like symmetry, but I wanted to use this for the fall, and I only have one of them. So, so I'm going to have to do something else on the other side. But I wanted to show you. Let's see. Let me move this. I want you to see some of the things that I've collected. I cut when I was in Atlanta. When I lived in Atlanta, I lived on Wyuka Road. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a very busy street. And the grocery store that I used was on Roswell Road. And in the back of grocery stores is a wonderful place to find greenery. Because I found they try to plant things there to, you know, usually it's separating somebody's house from the back of the grocery store. And once it's planted, they don't do anything to it. They don't ever cut it. They don't maintain it. And it's perfect. I think it's perfectly all right. Cut it. So yesterday, when I was in Atlanta, I went behind my grocery store and I did find some good things. I found this is beautiful. This is, what is this? I'll tell you what it is. I don't know why I have a mental block. I can never remember. This is ligustrum that has gone, I mean, it is huge. This huge ligustrum bush. And look at the berries on it. Are they not beautiful? They will turn really dark blue, but right now they're just in between green and blue. And I just think they're lovely. So I cut them. And you couldn't even tell that I cut them. I cut this morning off my yellow bell. Oh, what is it? Forsythia. In the fall, Forsythia up here turns these beautiful purple, dark purple colors. I don't know if you can see up close, but it's really lovely. The leaves will fall off eventually, but right now they're very pretty. And I also cut this ivy. You know, when ivy finally gets large enough, it will produce berries. And I really think they're beautiful. So I cut that. I have some Laura Petalum. I'm sure you probably have access to that. And of course, right now, those leaves are really a beautiful color. And this is Adelia, which, you know, a lot of people use for hedges. This came out of my friend's place at Lake Blue Ridge. She told me I could go and cut some things there. And she had all this abelia, so I cut that. I love the colors with the dark purple. And then this is something that I started using. This is a tree, a landscape tree that a lot of municipalities are using. I said my son-in-law is an antique dealer, and he has an antique store in Chambly. And he has these trees in front of his shop that I really think are going to end up being like brassicas are, where they're invasive because they put out thousands of millions of seeds. But at this time of year, they really turn this beautiful color. I think it's a form of elm, and I don't know the name of it. There's a giant one at the Coastal Botanical Gardens in Savannah. And it is a magnificent tree. But the ones in Atlanta are, I think they're just becoming invasive. I don't know if some of them have more seeds than others, but I had planted some planters at his shop with sedums in them. And we spend all of our time picking out these little baby trees that come up in them. But anyway, they are beautiful in the fall. So if you have access to them, you could use those. Let's see, what else do I have here? Well, I bought some mums at Trader Joe's to use, and I have something else I was going to use. Oh, I know. My husband took me up to the pocket at Pigeon Mountain, and if you've never been there, you should go. And I did not cut any of these at the pocket. But along the way there, we did stop on the side of the road and cut some seed pods. But a lot of these came out of my garden. This is mountain mint, and these are black-eyed Susans. This is autumn sedum. You can see the seed head is lovely. I don't know what these are. These are the ones I picked on the side of the road. I don't know what they are. These are a type of hosta that are here in my yard. And if anybody wants any of these seeds, they're just welcome to them. These seeds actually produce hosta. You know, most of the hostas we have now are hybrids. And so when they do produce seeds, but they don't make plants. But these will make plants, will make hosta plants. Because I keep cutting them down when I cut the grass. Because they come up in the yard everywhere. But anyway, I just collected those. These seed pods came off my native hibiscus that comes up every year. And I thought they were interesting. And then that are dried. And these are sun hydrangeas or limelight that are dried. Now, what else? Oh, well, this is goldenrod. And, you know, you may still have goldenrod that's blooming. I love goldenrod. And the bees love it. It's one of the last flowers that they can get nectar from. So I'm going to start with the base of the greenery. And I think I'll use this ivy as my greenery. And I'm just going to start building up layers in here. So you could use, you know, you probably have greenery, you have hedges or something that you could cut from. I'm sorry I can't hear you. Feel like I'm sort of in a cave somewhere. But maybe I'll use the Laura petal and that'll work. Yeah. Want something to hold that up. These are some of the limbs of that tree that haven't turned green, turned yellow yet. Might use the Laura petal. I'll put that out and put Laura petal in there. And if you don't like the way something's shaped, you can always flip it. Because right now I just want a base for the flowers to sort of sit on. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I didn't. I meant to show you this. I had used Oasis in this container, and you can buy Oasis, or Walmart sells it and calls it wet foam, but you can buy it at most craft stores. Okay, I'm gonna use some of the Scythia here. Cut this piece off. And if you can get away without using Oasis, it probably, your arrangements will probably last longer. I have a sister-in-law who lives in England, and she is always on her church's guild, who's flower guild, and they never use Oasis. They use chicken wire and tape and whatever, and their arrangements will last. There'll be multiple ones. Well, when she was in Tewksbury, there was an abbey there, and they would do multiple arrangements in the abbey to, and they would have to last because the abbey was always having visitors. They would have to last for weeks at a time. And so if they didn't use Oasis, they seemed to last better, last longer. Using this Iberia here, it has this nice pink tone. Let's see, piece of ivy. Isn't that beautiful? When ivy gets so big, it will create these berries. When I lived in Atlanta, I had some ivy well, I had lots of ivy, but I had some that was really, really old, and had been there. The leaf changes, if you'll notice, even. Doesn't look like an ivy leaf when it gets this big. Now I can start really putting flowers in. Use some of these mums. leaves. I love these leaves. These really are beautiful. But you could use, I would encourage you to go out. Maybe there are maple leaves still on some of your trees. We should have put out an email and said, don't call us. So this is just one bunch of chrysanthemums. I think it's $3. So if you're using other leaves that you can get by without very many flowers that you're having to buy. Something else that would be pretty, much as I hate to plant, it's one of the banes of our existence here in LJ because we have it all over our property, but privet berries would be pretty too. Okay. Let's see if I can get this done pretty quickly. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's coming along. Not there yet. These leaves act like a nice filler, which is good. Sort of like, oh, I haven't put any of my seed pods in, have I? Need to do that. Need more purple back here. Okay. Start putting in. What? Now this may last until Thanksgiving, so I'll use it. We're doing our Thanksgiving outside this time. My husband bought a tent that we think is big enough. We just have family coming, so hopefully we won't be arrested, put in jail, having Thanksgiving. See, I also bought a pot of these chrysanthemums at Trader Joe's. They were inexpensive. They were nice. Turn it around. See. Put another one of these in. Maybe I'll use this back here. Yeah. See what else. If you start making something too and you don't like it, now I can't do that because of time here, but you can always just take everything out and start over again if you don't like what you've done. These need to be trimmed up a bit. those dead flowers off. Here. Let me use some of this mountain mint. I like this. The bees love mountain mint. It's the native mint that grows wild. I didn't realize it. I mean, I have it all over my property. I was given some and planted in my flower bed. It tends to want to take over, but it just grows wild right at the edge of the wood, which is nice. And the bees really love it. Need something down here. Oh, if you have the, this is the seed pod for the Perennial Begonia. And I love these. They're really beautiful. I love the plant and I love the seed pods. Such a nice color. Got this other one here. Cut this one off here. But I think we need some more flowers in there. So, how often I could use them. Maybe one more, maybe. Oh, turn it around. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I think I'll go ahead and put this up there. And I have this platform I bought at an estate sale. I have two of them, which is always nice if you can get two. Now, let's see. I think I need something coming down. So I'm going to use some of these berries. Let's see if they'll drape down. And maybe some more if I have any more of this. Oh, here's some here. This one. This piece. Give it some more color. This color over here. Okay. So now, since I don't have another one of those to do, I do have this little pumpkin that it's a little container that I've had for a while, and I thought I can do something on the side here with it. Get some greenery to maybe balance it out. Gonna put this on this way. See all of these seeds on here? They're just rampant. amazing. I wish I knew the name of the tree. I always try to remember it. Every time we go to the botanical gardens in Savannah, I look at the tree and look at it has its name on the side. You know, it has a plaque, but I never remember it. Use some of the forsythia here. Some of the Laura petalum. I don't have any Laura petalum in my yard. I need some. I think it's a great plant. If you've ever been to the Smith Gilbert house in Kennesaw, I think it's part of the Cobb County Master Gardeners. That's one of their houses that they take to the gardens they take care of. They have a beautiful rose garden. But in the parking lot, they had all these huge Laura petalum plants, and they trimmed them like a topiary. It's amazing. I mean, it's a huge head. That's a great place to visit. There's sculpture there as well as plants. They have a rose garden. That's very beautiful. We've done a field trip there, and they also have a collection of bonsai, which are beautiful. So if you ever do field trips with your club, it's a great place to go. You can take a picnic and have lunch there. Use some of the, and I'll use a little bit of this. Kind of overwhelming. I had ligustrum in Atlanta, but it never looked like this ligustrum. It's just so beautiful. But I never let it get big. This is tree size. So maybe once you let it get that big. So see, I'm just using basically scraps on this one. But I want to do the base first, and then I'll add flowers and then fill in. Sunny has one red leaf. Okay, let's start trying to add some color. Person. What else do I have? I'd like some more Adelia. I think I've used it all. Yeah, I've used these. But I think these are just beautiful. Oh, and I put Oasis in this little pot too, to make it easier to deal with. I see it's beginning to come along. I'm just using the little pieces that I've had to clip off, so I, off the bottom stems in this. And I'm sort of layering it so they're at different heights. Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna get a few more. Let me clean some of this off so I can see what I'm doing. It's gotten out of hand here. Have a garbage thing down here. Throw that away. I'll put some of these other, so I'll have some of these in there as well. Colors will be similar. Quite satisfied. Oh, I'll use some seed pods. That mountain in again. Maybe I'll get some of the black-eyed peas and seed pods. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, I'm gonna put it up here and then you can see. Maybe I'll do something else too. Let me move this so it's out of the way. It's a little top. I think we need something over here on the side. I'll put the top there, but I need some flowers, I think, over there on the side. So I have them, I should use them. Maybe too tall. Yeah, I think it is. Okay. And then to hide that ugly thing, I'm just going to put this piece of old silver plate up there. So I think that's finished. I'll move out of the way so you can see. There. And maybe, you might want something, maybe some little animal. I could put a squirrel or something up there. I have a collection of squirrels or acorns. Maybe something else you might want to add. And actually, I think that could stand something tall. I think that's it. There. Maybe that would work a little better. I don't know what that was that I put up there. That was something I picked on the side of the road. Oh, these are, I should have used some of these. These are the seed pods from my chives. I like the way they look. Too. And they're a different color, which is nice. A little bit lighter. So you never know what you could use. Okay, I think that's done. So I hope that will inspire you to do something for your table for Thanksgiving or your mantle. Clean this up a bit. This is really messy. And it is messy doing flowers. But maybe you take this and move that out of the way. Oh, except I might use some of those for Christmas. Okay. Let's see if I can get this cleaned up a bit. Vanilla. I have a list here of different things you might think about using. A tuba, bay laurel, bittersweet, box elder. Box elder, the seed pods are really nice. I tried to find some of those. Oh, okay. I tried to find some box elder and I saw it on the side of the road. You know, a lot of times it'll appear at creeks, but it was too tall for me to get. I used to have, when I lived in Atlanta, there was some growing down near one of the streets near my house, and I used to be able to get it there. And I have some box elder in my own yard. Sometimes it's too tall. Clean this up a little bit. These are all these seeds. Maybe I'll have these in my yard now. There. Somebody leave? Oh, okie doke. Well, now the thing that I really always do is decorate my mantle for Christmas. And normally, when I do it, let's see, I'll show you. For the past 100 years, what did you do with those tall? Oh, here they are. Past years, I have used these, this basket. I have two of these that I bought years ago at World Bazaar, if you remember World Bazaar. And I put a plastic container in it, and sometimes I use Oasis and sometimes not. And I've always done my arrangements. I use them in Atlanta, and it's just sentimental that I use them. But today, I bought some new things to use. And I bought these at Home Goods. They were inexpensive, but I thought they would be sparkly for Christmas. And you wouldn't see so much of them, just the greenery. So I have two of those. So I wish I had brought my other thing up, this lazy Susan. I have another one in the basement. You wouldn't get it for me, would you? It's in my flower room. Yeah, because I'm going to have to make these, most of them, on the tables, I think. Because I don't think I can reach the mantle. It's too tall. But I've been collecting greenery. I went to my friend's house in Blue Ridge. She has hemlock that she treats every year. You know, the hemlock is dying. I don't have any hemlock on my property. I wish I did. I've tried to buy hemlock trees to plant, but so far I haven't been able to get any. And then I have some cedar. There's lots of cedar up here. And I picked juniper at my daughter's house, which, you know, it's growing on the ground, but it's a great evergreen. And I also always like to use a tuba. And this came from my daughter. She has beautiful tuber bushes. Oh, thank you. So I'm going to start building these, and then I'll turn them around so you can see them, and then eventually I'll get them up on top of the mantle. But I don't think I can totally build them there. So I usually start with a base of hemlock, and it always wants to flop over, which is fine. Also have some pine here. I love hemlock really. But you could use arborvitae. What else? Oh, I have some cryptomeria. I love that. That's also beautiful in the arrangement. I need to get some hemlock over here. Okay, I think I'm going to take these down. It's going now. Try to do these up here so they don't go fast. I have some stems to put these on. If I'll use these. Normally, I have at Christmas time, I put my nativity. I have a wooden nativity scene that I put in the middle, but I didn't get it out today. So now I'm going to put these back here. Oh, but it's so heavy, I may need you to lift it. Oh, okay. Oh, maybe I can do it. Oh, very heavy though. Oh, okay. So now I just start building. Cedar. I want to put some cedar on both of them. And if you're really a neat person, this is a very messy experience. Yeah, I like the pine. This is white pine. What? And this is what is this? see if I've got this on my list. Oh, it's petunia. Now, I've never seen petunia with these huge berries, but I thought it was
Pretty. Well, this one doesn't have any berries, but the greenery is. I always like to use something shiny with the evergreens. Something with a shiny leaf. You could use camellias. Or you could even use some magnolia. It's not too huge. Oh, it's nice. Ellie Agnes is nice to use. Well, Ellie Agnes gets a bad name, but it's a really great plant to use in arrangements. It's a nice piece. The good thing about this is using this is you can root it. Sometimes it'll root in the pot. Let's see. These are these Perennial Berries. Oh, use this one. This one. I don't think my mantle in Atlanta was this high. Was it, Buck? Was it this tall?
What?
The mantle in Atlanta wasn't this high, was it? And let's see what else do I have. Oh, I have these beautiful Mandina berries that my friend gave me. I'll wait to put those in last, but those are lovely. I have Mandina, huge Mandina bushes, but the birds or something eats all the berries. These giant Mandina bushes, but no berries. This is the area. And I like it because it drapes so nicely. Ooh, big piece. Some of this juniper. It's got this nice blue sort of color. I think it's blue. I looked it up. Blue something. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I know. I have this little cozy, which is lovely. This is a native plant. It's nice shiny leaves. This came from my friend's house. I planted some down in my woods, but it's not
hasn't grown enough for me to cut. It's Mandina's drapes, so I'm gonna put them up, trying to get them in the middle so that put it on. You could use holly. I did get these nice twigs with lichens on them. They might be kind of nice in there too. Bigger. This one. I wish I had more berries, something else red to go in there. This is funny. No, that wasn't there. Well, maybe I can put some of these. I'll put some of the ligustrum in there. Let's see how that goes. This is taking a long time. So maybe this will do. But would you hand me Mr. Miller's angels? I think I'll put those up here in the center. Yes, those. I collect folk art, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with R.A. Miller. When I worked, I used to travel the state, and on my way home from once I traveled to Gainesville, a lot of times I'd stop by Mr. Miller
house. It was outside of Gainesville in Rabbit Town, and I got artwork from it. He's dead now, but he made these angels that I love, and put those there.
Turn the lights.
Yeah, the light works. Hello. So there. So does anyone have any questions or anything they'd like to ask me?